Welcome, WNHL 95 coaches, managers, crazies, sick fucks, whatever you want to call it. It's been a long-awaited WNHL 95 weekly video, and it feels like I haven't done one in months. Some of you will say I haven't done it in months, and you can go fuck yourself. But finally, it's rolling out. I finally found some time to be able to put one together. They're going to be coming back weekly. Just everything's been so chaotic with work. Everybody else has experienced it as well. And with the sunnier days and longer days as well with light, it's preventing people from playing their games, but it's also giving them a little bit more of a recharge in life. So basically, this week is going to be a recap of like what the Google Sheets are going through right now. Some of the stuff that we're going to be expected to see. And I'm going to do a quick little summary of what's going on so far this season with all the teams and where everyone's directing. I'll do those little reviews within the Google Sheet review. So the first tab here is the net play. So if you haven't put in your stuff, is because you've just put in a number. Net play is 1 out of 5, 1 being a horrible, 5 being excellent streaming. Then you have a streamer. Are you a person who does Twitch? You can put your information there. It says yes or no. And then your availability. This is more or less for people that are just saying, hey, you know what? I want to know when I can get a hold of this guy. Just come to this tab, look for it, and be like, hey, I can get a hold of this guy at this time, this day, more than likely. Doesn't mean it's going to be a foolproof situation, but it will definitely give you an idea when that guy might be available. The next tab, our standings, hasn't changed much over the past couple of seasons. But there has been some new developments that I've caught from Derek Sutton. Thanks for that. Gaelic Gopher and Coach Mike have also pointed out a few things that we could actually have here in the standings. So games played hasn't changed. Wins, losses, ties, OT losses hasn't changed. Points hasn't changed. The winning percentage has now changed to point percentage. Of the 100 and I think it's 132 point potential, your season is based on point percentages now. Every game that's played, what is the percentage that you will get a point? Closer to 1, more than likely you're going to get your 2 points. Closer to 0.5, more than likely you'll get a tie or an overtime loss. And the closer to 0, the more likely that you're not going to win shit. But the way we look at it right now, so like say Troy Hill with Ticklepuss, he's got an 857 point percentage opportunity. It's because he's only lost 4 times. So you put it in that he's gotten points in 31 of 35 games. He's only gotten 0.5 points or 500% chance of getting it. It was with his tie and his overtime loss. And then he's got a full click on his wins. So basically that's what we've added now. It's the point percentage instead of the win percentage, which is more or less how many times have you won out of all the games possible. This is more of how many points have you accumulated with the possible games that you've played. Goals for, goals against is the same. Differential remains the same. I might change this to being like similar to the conference and division titles and clinching and elimination so that you can see who's plus minus instead of actually seeing the minuses. But I might change that just to green and red with the lettering instead. Home and away is the same. Division is a little fucky for some reason. In the formula in the background, I'm trying to figure out why the formula is capturing, if you get an overtime loss, it's also giving you a loss at the same time. Wins and ties, no issues. But the thing is, it's with the overtime losses. So like G-Lock, he's got 4 losses in overtime within his division, but only one of them was an overtime loss. So he actually only has 3 losses in his division, not 4. Or somebody else here would be Sean Bell. He's got 6 losses in his division, which he actually only has 4. So because he's played 4 against Segathon or 4 against Segathon. I think 4 against Segathon or 4 against Segathon and 6 against Providence. So, and he's split with them all. So basically he should be 4-4, 0-2 in his division. So that's got to get updated. The same thing with Providence. Providence should be 3-2, 0-1. So those are the kind of things I'm going to fix. So don't put too much value into the divisionals. But overtime, I was thinking maybe going to a row, which means regulation with overtime wins. So adding them together and just putting it kind of somewhere near where it says the percentages and just have the row instead of having just the overtime thing. But so basically it's wins, ties, and overtime losses. Streaks are automatic, so you see the streaks update. Pitt is on a chance of winning the all-time record. He's got 14 wins in a row. Troy Hill is interesting because he hasn't lost in, I think, 17 or 18 games. He has had an overtime loss, which kind of triggers it. But given with like Pitt's doing with Adolph's won 10 games in a row. I think he's actually won with his 14, but in his last 10, he's 10-0. So the last 10 is another thing that's been a new addition. It allows people to kind of see where they're sitting at in their last 10. So even though your record might be pretty bad, you could still say, hey, you know what? I'm improving in the last 10 over my overall record. Kind of gives you a better idea. Some guys are wondering what the conference and division thing is again. Conference is how many more points based on your games available, or not your games available. This is how many points you can give up before you're eliminated from conference contention. So basically, Troy Hill could lose 36 games, which is not possible because he's only got 31 games left. So there's quite possible that he could still be in the running for the conference, but it also has to do with the people that haven't played as many games. That number will go down based on the conference. It's depending on how many points it is. He is leading the pack with 60 points. Same thing with Nathan with 60 in the other conference. But he's also played 11 games less. So Troy Hill is bashing people. I think he's gone away from the fats and gone to the skinnies, or they're eating cheeseburgers at the beginning of the game and then they're burning it off and catching up later in the game, which Troy Hill I think is really bad in the first period with shot differentials. It's his worst period, but then he just heats up. So if you're going to beat Troy Hill, beat him in the first period, because if you don't, you're going to end up losing. And his record shows you that as well. And thickness, another praise from heaven with all his statistics. His charts are an erection waiting to happen, or pre-ejaculation for some of the guys in the league. But the big thing is that his statistics show us more of like, what's your record after 2 periods? What's your record after 1 period? What's your record of trailing and then coming back? I would love to be able to have just a chart in here that shows you those things. So like a tab just meant for records after 1 winning, records after 1 losing, records after 2 winning, records after 2 losing, and just have that broken down so it shows everybody's like, what are you more likely to lose? And your goal differential, which we already have those points, so that doesn't really matter. And then division is the same thing. How many points could you give up before you're eliminated from division contention? So you see some guys have 27, it's because they have ties. Ties count as 1, you can lose 1 point away. So if a guy behind you loses or in overtime, you're likely to only lose 1 point instead of 2 if the guy were to win. And then there's the clinch and eliminate, the C and the E. So if you're in yellow, means you're sitting currently in 8th or 9th. You're battling out. As you can see here, Minnesota and G-Lock and Providence are tied in 9th. So they're both at 0. Whoever's in red, that's how many points you are behind that position of 8th or 9th. So in this case, that's how many points you are behind 9th. So like Sonoma Valley with Nui, he's 20 points behind 9th place. So, and then if you go down into the other conference, it's the same thing. You got somebody more known here is Sugar Valley is sitting in 9th over here, and he's a 0. But then everybody else, you can see how far ahead they are from out of 9th place. So like for Taipei, he's 45 points ahead of 9th place. And that gives him an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm holding on to a playoff spot right now. I don't have to really worry. And then you got the playoff bracket, the playoff picture. But the playoff picture, do not look at the red line. I just do that as the top 8. However, the division winners of all divisions within the conference is guaranteed a playoff spot. So, yes, Caledonia, Tuyukatuk, Vancouver, and K-Vegas, whoever wins that division, yes, you will get into the playoffs. However, Sean Bell brought up a good point. Should we have a play-in series for, say, the top 10, so that 10 plays 7 and 8 plays 9, and the winners of those 2 games get into the Bruley Cup? And then if you lose out of those ones, you fall down to the shitty bill, which would be the top. You would become the top seed or second seed. Just an idea. We might not do it. It's just an idea right now. And then we got the bracket set up over here as always. So we'll wait and see how everything transpires. This will all change, but it kind of gives you a broad idea of what's going on in the playoff bracket. Given with teams that I've seen so far right now with the season, how it's going, Sean Bell is looking a little bit more normal, which is an understatement, which is like almost me being sacrilegious by saying Sean Bell is normal. Not 19-5 and 0-6. But the fact that he's lost 11 games in this season alone is mind-blowing. I don't think he's lost 11 games in 2 regular seasons prior to this, in season 2 and 3. Providence is heating up a little bit. The Manhattricks, I think they're the odd team out. If they don't make the playoffs as the 4th team in that division, they're not making the playoffs. They're going to Shitty Bill. Troy Hill's running away with this division, and then they're just firing on all cylinders. But the thing is his back 26 games once we hit the trade deadline, it'll be at 36 to 40 games. If you're in that realm of those games, we're going to lock it down for a day, do the trade deadline for one day, and then we'll restart it up. But Troy Hill's put themselves in a position to like at least solidify themselves a playoff spot. But this division the Patrick Swayze division is all sexy, and nobody's putting baby in the corner. We move over to Just Babes. It's looking a little interesting. Moses has played 16 games, 13-1, 0-2, looking really strong. But we're going to find out a little bit more about this division later in the season. It seems like Pink Elephants might be like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like I've said before. And Coach Mike showed everybody last season like what he could do with an expansion team. Pulled off the trade of the century when he got Brindamore. But the big thing is his offseason included a little bit more that he traded Happy Boolin for John Van Beesbrook, which was a head scratcher, but at the same time too, he solidified his team a little bit more on the front end and defensively. He didn't really need goaltending too much because his goaltending is pretty solid nonetheless. But then in Richfield, tank for Iggy turned into a tank for shit. Because Iginla's been on the bench all season. He's got 2 points. And he ended up trading him to me for Uncle Todd, who's got 52 in 40 games, which has been great. But I think Bertuzzi fits more of the mold of what the Oracles want to do, where Iginla fits more of the mold of the Cyclones. Then we move into the Maroon Tailgate division. This one, from what I've seen so far, I think this is going to end up being a 2-horse race. No pun intended with the Mustangs. And the Gophers. The Mustangs right now 11-19, 1-6. I don't see them winning the division because of their record and how many games the Gaelic Gopher has in hand. And I'm never going to count out Sammy Smith because the fact that he split to start the season against Sean Bell is even more so of a point in my head. I think it was against Sean Bell. I'll find out later. But and then Newey started cold. But he's the type of guy that can heat up. This division's still a toss-up, but it seems like it's a Gaelic Gopher division to lose. But we'll find out with that. We move into the Death Truck division. This division's a little bit unique. We're likely going to have a team that's going to finish below 500, make the playoffs. The same thing in the other conference. But the thing is, stickiness with Helsinki Jokic, they're going to surprise a lot of people, which they have. He's brought his 94 passing abilities. Other than King Raph's electric thumbs, I think Thickness is basically doing a lot more of that no-look pass in NBA, where he drives the hole and it looks like he's going for the layup and he just dishes it to the center and he slam dunks it. I've seen too many of his gifts so far where he's basically undressing everybody and they're just standing there like, what the fuck just happened? And before you know it, even the goalie's looking at everybody like, what did he just do to you? Oh shit, the puck's in the net. He's playing lights out for a guy who's a rookie. Right now, it looks like he will be the Rookie of the Year. The only person that stands in his way right now is Derek Sutton. Unless some of the new guys, other than that, turn it up later in the season and get hot, it's going to be a 2-horse race for the GM of the Year for the rookie. Which is right now it's between Thickness and Derek Sutton. G-Lock, the G-Lock magic is starting to rub back on right now. The interdivision stuff, he still has, shit, how many games does he still have? He has 13 games in division, and he has Gambini and JNC still to play. So he has a chance to really turn his season around interdivision. Gamby as well, guys. You're wondering where the hell's Gamby and everything like that. The guy works night shifts. He's our new new aftershock. He's not available all the time, but when he does become available, Gambini is going to play. I have no doubt in my mind he will play his games. And then JNC picking up his first W yesterday. You know what? Some guys, it takes a little bit longer to get their sea legs under them. Being a rookie jumping into a league that's becoming established, we're into our 4th season. I think we can consider ourselves established. And also on top of it too, is you're taking over some of the premier players in the world in NHL 95 in this league. So we're not playing your brother down the street saying, hey, let's go play some hockey and oh shit, let's use the old controllers. We don't know what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. You're getting guys who have strategies. You got guys who have electric thumbs. I'm going to use that more often. And you have guys who have played against each other numerous times so they know what kind of plays work and which ones don't. So JNC, Golfer Gibb, I forget all their names. Can't stand ya. Mattier, Ekil. Don't worry, guys. You're going to find your legs. It's going to happen. Everybody goes through it, and your guys are going through it right now. It's basically trial by error, trial by fire, more if anything. But you're going to get there. Don't worry. Then we move into the Clarence Campbell division. What can I say? Adolf, you're doing it. You're doing it. You're kicking ass. You're pounding people in the ground. You're making people look innocent. Come on. So Adolf's destroying people. His record shows it. He's won 14 in a row. He's only played 30 games. He's at an 850 clip. It's just something. It's something to behold when you saw last season that he lost to Sean Bell in 7 in the conference finals. Everybody's all like, Adolf could have went to the Bruley Cup last season. And then he went balls out this year, and he's showing it out. But the one thing is that everyone's wondering why the fuck on earth would he trade Stevie Y, captain of captains, to his divisional rival in Sunnyvale for Ray Bourque and Sergei Zoltok. I understand why. A lot of other coaches understand why. Some people don't. Why the fuck would you trade against a rival in division? Why would you trade a player whose overall is far better than a 4-year rental? Why would you give up your scoring tandem of Forsberg and Yzerman? There's a lot of questions you can ask. And then the same thing for Sunnyvale. We're like, shit, we don't have defense. Let's get rid of our fucking all-star defenseman. Let's get rid of like a prospect we just drafted this year, which he's only about a 74 overall average over his career. And you trade away a 92 average defenseman for the next 4. But to put it this way, Stevie Y, great guy, great captain, great everything. But at the same time, too, Adolf has never had a mobile elite defenseman. You lock up your back end a little bit. You've weakened in the forwards. But the way Adolf plays, he only needs Forsberg. Same thing with Sunnyvale. He only needs Sakic. But now he's got a running mate with fucking Sakic with Yzerman. And you throw in Russ Courtnall in a little bit in the middle. And you got Peter Sikora on top of it. Holy fuck, I don't even want to know. Defensively, he's going to struggle, but I think Sunnyvale's looking more in the long game, being like, you know what, I'm building my team up a little bit over the next couple seasons, where Adolf's like, I'm in the win mode now. I have a window of 2 or 3 seasons, and I'm done. Or I'm going to have to rebuild to some degree, and I'm going to take a step back in the next season or 2. Milwaukee, half-pucked. That's what the team's name is, and that's what the players are like, half-pucked, because nobody knows half the fucking guys. Ulf Dahlin is probably the most recognizable to me. He played for San Jose back in the 90s. The rest of his team, I don't even remember the players I gave to him. But those, I gave the best available players before the draft. So, in some ways, his roster is better than some of the other teams' starting lineup. But you know what? That's nothing to say there. But Colin, welcome back. It's great to have you. And with a shitty team, he's still popping out an 11-6 record. So, hats off to you, bud. LHX, if everyone's wondering, everything's fine. He's just taking some time off. He had a baby in March or February. Give the guy a break. If there's anybody in the league who can rattle off 30 games in a weekend, it's him. So don't worry, don't fret. You're going to get your chance at some cream. And he's going to cream all over half of you with Belfort and whoever else. Sergei Markov is gone now, so Johnny Leclerc is going to be his new prime horse. Nathan, with Taipei Typhoons, everybody's wondering why has he gone over the 40 limit. He's going to be away on vacation all of May. So he's getting all his games in now. He's not going to do any trades. So I've given him the green light to finish his season so that he can go on his vacation and not worry about having to hold up the league. So he's going to play out the rest of his games. He's only got 20 left before the end of the season. The Highland Wolf did a lot of changes in the offseason, but it seemed like they were for the better. It seemed like it took a while to get Darren Fleury into the mix when he dumped Chris Chilios over to the Autobahn for an interdivisional guy. Again, another interdivisional trade, but for Darren Fleury. Darren Fleury's been melding perfectly over the last 10 games. He's 7-2-0-1 in his last 10 games. He's playing very, very well with Fleury, Hall, and Ziggy. Yes, he's gotten weaker in the back end, but he's showing what he has. Mike Richter has been a huge help for him in goaltending as well. And then he ended up trading Richter for Patrick Roy. And Patrick Roy's been playing lights out for him. Richter's now over in Charlestown. And then Autobahn with the best overall team in the league. And his record's kind of weird. Really kind of weird. 16-5-4-4. The bad thing is that he sucks in overtime. You get Autobahn to overtime, you have a good chance you can beat him. And that's, when you think about it, that's where you have to beat him, because otherwise he's not losing in regulation all that often. He loses 1 out of every 4 games. Then North Bay Knights is another enigma with the Unholy. The thing is the Unholy could still potentially win this division. He has that ability. He has the roster. When you got Jagger, Gilmore, Linden, you got fucking Broder in net. He has defense with Malikov and the suspect other defenseman. I think it's Fetisov. He could still win this division. And, like, you know what? He might be rusty for a few games, but then he's going to turn on the fucking Jets and burn a lot of teams. Moving over into the next division in the Smythe is myself. The one guy I am worried about is Elias. He's been playing fucking lights out. 7-3 in his last 10. 7-3. He's been beating some quality teams. I think he beat Autobahn. He's shut out a few other guys as well, and he's not playing the scrubs in the league. Not that we're saying we have scrubs in our league. We just got rookies. But he's beating up on some teams. 12, 10, 2, and 3. Most improved player from season to season is Elias, and it's going to be very, very hard for anyone to take that award away from him. Like, the guy's playing lights out. And for a convert from 94, the guy's playing really well. And if you guys haven't seen the league before, go check out Hacksball. Elias runs the Hacksball League. It's a soccer-based, you need a controller and 1 button. You could probably use an old Nintendo controller if you wanted to. And it's basically 3-on-3 Pong for soccer, which I played it with a few other guys, and it's pretty fucking fun, but it is an art to learn it. Check out Hacksball. Brought to you by Hacksball, whatever you want to call it. Sugar Valley, Einstein's been playing really well lately, 5-5. His team is, I don't know, Einstein doesn't do much to like Russell Feathers. The only spot like he shows a lot of action is in Just Babes. So check out Just Babes. They're in the corner near you in some kind of tight yoga bikini. Check it out. And then we got Yo Giver Bud. Saskatchewan Scam Squanches with Halifax 5-3-1-2. It's, like, the funny thing is if you look at all the divisions, this is one of the few divisions that has everybody over 500. So we take pride here down in the Smythe division. So Halifax has got the Rocket, Russian Rocket. No, not the Russian Rocket. I don't know what they would call. I don't remember Sergei Fedorov's nickname if he even had one. But the Russian Rocket was Pavel Bure. But regardless. He's looking to do some upgrades potentially, but the thing is with Halifax, there's a potential that Aftershock might take over half of his games depending on availability, but that's yet to be discussed. And then we move into the North Division. We call this the rookie bucket. All these coaches, Mattier and Tuyukatuk with Ken Stanu, are technically still rookies. Tuyukatuk took over a shitball team that I created last season just as a floater. and he played it out. I give him props. I give props to him and Matty A for taking their lumps. I give it the props to anybody who takes their lumps. It's not an easy league to be dominant right away. It takes time. You learn to play against other guys. And if you're not a regular game player, like, you know what? It's not going to happen because there is guys in this league that are like on here all the fucking time. But the Caledonia Corvers lead in the division right now, 1-16-0-2. The funny thing is Golfer Gibb is really good. His team is not great, but he's really good. You put a roster behind him, he'll probably be, I'd say, Division B or C within the next, or Division C or B in the next 2 or 3 seasons. Can't stand is in that same bucket as well. His goaltending's been locking up. He's got Jose Theodore now, so when Theodore starts hitting his stride, he's going to start hitting his as well. Ekiel as well, is that this, and then Matty A. So Ekiel is the same thing as Golfer Gibb and Canstania, and Matty A is learning his stripes pretty quickly. For a Grizzly vet, is more of a relic, based on his age that he wants to be called now as the relic. Yeah, okay. A lot of these guys here, they're giving up a lot of games. They're getting scored on a lot. But you know what? When you learn the league and you start learning ways how to play, you're going to find your way. Don't worry. So that's our divisions, and I'm giving a little bit of a review there. So we got our schedule here. Check it out. There's some divisions that don't play each other. So if you're in Division A here with Troy Hill, you do not play Canstania and the Corvers and Golfer Gibb and Ekiel. And then the same thing would be for Pitt with Adolph. You do not play Helsing, Saguenay, Miami, or do we? Or no, yeah. So the top division does not play the bottom division in the other conference, and then 3 does not play 2. So Clarence Campbell, 3rd division, does not play the Prince of Wales 2 division, and the Division 3 does not play Division 2. So that's just an idea if you want to remember. But check your schedule; it's all there. It shows who you are. You just check the drop down, choose your team, and it shows who you still have left to play. Then we have the team page. It has not changed very much. The only thing I've added here is the expected goals. So like once you change the team here, you go in here, you go Autobahn, it changes everything for you. You would have to change your opponent so you can see what your expected goals and probability of winning. So like Autobahn's playing in this division with the Highland Wolf. Right now, 61.5% probability that Autobahn would win his game on average 2.2 to 1.63. And it's more falling into the, right here, 2-1 for Autobahn, or which is the score differential. So that's what you can just do. You can find out, like, if you have divisional games, like, who do you have left to play? And you'd be like, okay, well, how many games could I win against this guy? Like here, Taipei, it was more or less a tie most of the time. 10.7% that it would be a 1-1 tie. So if you just want to play around with it, go right ahead. Just use the little drop down here. Don't fucking go somewhere else. Don't go off the reserve. Then we got team stats. So this thing here does not move. The only thing you could do here is if you wanted to see previous seasons, you can check it. It will filter. But more or less, it's all in green. You can go all the way down here, and you have even like your shot differential per period. New one is our league leaders and stats. So league leaders, I only put the top 6. So it's top goals, top assists, top points, top goals against average, top wins, and top shutouts. That gets updated regardless of whatever you do over here. Over here is that you can choose the playoffs. The reason why nothing shows up, because we're not in the 98 playoffs. But if you go to the 97 playoffs, you will have the top goalies based on their category. So save percentage. So if you go here, save percentage. 859 was Sean Burke last season in the playoffs. But if you wanted to find out, okay, who had the most wins as goalies in the postseason, Thunder Bay with 12. Should be 16 because a lot of the save states did not come in at the end of the year, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not chasing after save states. If you don't have them, you don't get them. You don't get your stats. That's your problem. I think I do enough work to be able to accommodate everybody, but I'm not doing that. If you miss a save state, make sure you save your fucking games. I just don't like going back and be like, oh, I forgot to save it. The only person that's came up to me and explained the situation to me has been Moses and Einstein. Moses and Taipei, their game froze and shut down. They spotted each other their goals up until that point in the next game, and then they played out the rest of it. That's what you can do. Or Einstein had a very unique situation where the game ended. So they were like, okay, the game ended. Let's get our save state. But it ended with a penalty shot. So after the penalty shot happened, it didn't go to the 3 stars. It didn't go to the like exit game menu where you see the scoreboard. It went right back to the main menu. So those are kind of instances. Once you like save the game near the end of the 3rd period if you're feeling a bit more comfortable, and if it does something like what Einstein went through, then at least you can prevent it. But those are anomalies. I'm not gonna like fret over that. Those I can fix. I'm not gonna go and do something if somebody's like, oh, I forgot my save state. Well, that's your problem, not mine. I'm only gonna put the win in, and that's it. I'm not going in and putting all the details of all the stats. Then you can go over here. You can go change it to forwards, and you can change it from playoffs to season. So this is like the 97 season, or you can go 98 season, which we're in right now. And we're not going to have wins for players, so you go in here and I want to see points. So it'll filter, it'll show you based on points who's leading the league right here. And I've color coded it based on the conditional formatting, which says top to lowest. So you can even see here, like Russ Cordell and Bill Guerin, no shorthanded points. And there's still some other guys over here. I think it's based on how many numbers of players they're in. They give the formula based on that. But if you wanted to see, hey, you know what? I want to see shots on goal per game. So shots on goal per game, Gretzky, 11. 11 fucking shots. He's in red and everything else because he's only played 2 games, but 11 shots per game. So you can see those. Those are stats that people were asking for. Hey, can I see these stats? Only use this, and this is more to find out if you wanted to see lowest to highest. So lowest is 0, highest is on there. So if you wanted to filter that, you could do it. It's really good for goaltenders. If you wanted to go over here and you see the goals against average, you can click on this and it'll show nothing. Because there is some players that have nothing in it. But if you turn it on, there's your goals against average. Or shots on goal. Sorry, that's shots on goal. My apologies. Goals against average here. So here it shows you the top bad goalie in the league. And then you switch this and it'll show you the top goaltenders. So just stay in this area here. Don't fucking type anything. Just use the drop down. Don't type. Stay away from typing. The only thing you should be typing in is something else. Records. This hasn't changed. This is our records tab. Keeps everything in there. If anyone wants to find out, the winning streak might fall in the next week. Draft history. I'm already starting to do season 5. But if you wanted to see the other ones, just let me know and I can undo it. Draft capital. This is how many picks you have for the 99 season. If you have an X, means you traded that draft pick away, which I traded mine away to Richfield, which they're right here. They have Sydney. And then you have your future seasons as well. Active players, everybody knows where this is. If you see it in red, it's because those players have been confirmed traded. I'll have the trades updated at midseason, but everybody else who's in red has been traded. Player database, it's the same thing. It's filtered right now based on 98. Once we get to 99, I'll filter it and it'll go like this. And then you'll see everybody in 99. Then you'll see all the rookies for 99 as well. So we'll undo that. Hopefully I didn't fuck that up. Son of a... Okay, there we go. It's just a lot of data. Then we have our players. Down here is where I'm putting all the things. You can see 11,000 lines. It's all the player ratings. I might get rid of one of these. I'm not 100% sure. But when you go in here, type in there or delete it and press enter. See if there's nothing there. You can go, Jose Theodore. And then press down, enter. Pops it up. There you go. You don't have to go in there and start typing stuff in this little cell underneath it. Don't worry about it. Player database. This is our database for every player that's been played in every season. That's hidden. Don't worry about it. And then all this other stuff, you don't have to worry about that. That allows me to keep all your wonderful stats up in order. But given other stats that are going on, we're going to have some interesting things coming in the next couple of weeks. But I'm going to do some Dark Side 95 interviews today. But other than that, play your games. Everyone's getting pretty close to the barrier. There's not many people on the shit list right now. But hope you guys are having fun. If there's any questions, drop it in the Google Sheets requests or message me directly. But other than that, keep playing, have fun, and see you on the dark side. This is your host, Ultra Magnus. Stay groovy. And go get it. Come on.